Hello and welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another episode of TEW 2020 WWE here, as today we continue the road towards NXT Takeover Chicago and Crown Jewel, where they'll be the King of the Ring and Queen's Crown finals. We got all the semi-finals this week for both of those tournaments, so a lot to get through, a lot more matches to be confirmed and to bubble and build as we get closer to those beautiful premium live events. And so without further ado, I think we should just jump right in it, don't you? And so let's just do that and jump right in it, as always, kicking things off with another episode of Monday Night Raw here, which gets underway with the Intercontinental Champion Montez Ford coming out to the rings. A big cheers, big applause. Montez Ford still in non-Continental Champion. Money in the Bank, he beat Chris Jericho one-on-one. He comes out, he thanks the fans for their support. He starts off, he wants to say thank you to Chris Jericho for the matchup. He says Chris Jericho is one of the greatest of all time, one of the greatest to ever hold this championship. Chris Jericho's, what he did with the Intercontinental title is one of the reasons that it means so much to me to be able to hold it. To be able to hold the championship that such illustrious and massive superstars like the likes of Chris Jericho held is an honor. And he says he wants to continue building his own legacy with this title and adding his own, greatness and honor to it. And he thanks the fans for their support. He says he's had many months with this title now. He loves it. And he hopes he never has to let it go. Montez Ford, God is good. The WWE Universe, you are all good. And thank you. And I am ready for whoever is next. A good champion is a fighting champion, and a fighting champion never backs down, never gives up, never surrenders, never says die. So anybody that wants to step up to me for the WWE Championship will just know that I want the smoke. For 100, Montez Ford, Intercontinental Champion, impassioned promo, letting him kick things off here, calling out anyone who wants to challenge him. To challenge him, who will step up? We'll have to wait and see now, won't we? As then, next up, we kick things off in the Queen's Crown Tournament. With the first semi-final of the night, it is Naomi against Zoe Stark. Naomi defeating Thea Hale last week, whilst Zoe Stark beat Jacy Jayne a few weeks back to get here, and who will be the first superstar advancing to their own brands Queen's Crown Tournament final. In the end, the winner advancing to the Queen's Crown Tournament final here on Raw. The Raw brackets Queen's Crown Tournament final. There you go. And getting one step away from the actual Queen's Crown Tournament final at Crown Jewel is Naomi. Naomi does overcome Zoe Stark, gives it her best, but Naomi does get the win for a 79. Good match. 75 Naomi, 54 Zoe Stark. Both doing well. But it's Naomi who does get the win, come out on top, and Naomi advances into the Raw final of the Queen's Crown Tournament. One step away from that date at Crown Jewel now. Will she be facing Gigi Dolan, or will she be facing Kairi Sane? We'll have to wait till later tonight to find out, but a good start to things. Before then we go backstage, knock, knock, knock. It is Chase University's crew, so Andre Chase, Bodie Hayward, Malik Blade, Thea Hale. It's growing, isn't it? And the man knocking on the door, Edris Enofe, and then opening the door is Apollo Crews, Omos and Bubba Tunde behind him. And then opening the door is Bubba Tunde and Edris Enofe and the gang just walking past him, going to the Apollo Crews sat in the room. Apollo Crews standing up as Edris Enofe says, I want to fight you. You say you should be my teacher. You say that I'm not ready, not good enough. Let me prove to you that I am good enough, that Chase University is what I need. I'm challenging you to a match. And Apollo Crews just laughing for a bit and saying, you know what, Edris? I'll see you next week. For a 69, nice segment. Edris issuing a big challenge. Apollo saying that he will see him next week. As then we have a non-tournament matchup here tonight. It is Fallon Henley taking on Nikki Cross. Nikki Cross attacking Alexa Bliss at the Alexa Bliss Moment of Bliss celebration. There you go. She arranged personally last week, Nikki Cross, attacking her there. Not happy with Alexa Bliss moving on from their tag team, taking it out on her. And now showing what she can do here on Raw against Fallon Henley and getting the win. For a 62, hitting the perfect storm, it says. It wouldn't be that. 69 Nikki, 29 Fallon, both doing quite well. It is Nikki Cross who does get the win, showing what she can do. You know, Nikki Cross, not happy, a bit rabid, a bit, NXT classic Nikki. Not best pleased with Alexa Bliss's moving on from her. As then we cut to the Toxic Lounge. Mandy Rose, JC Jane, Gigi Dolan, a bit preoccupied getting ready for a match, but Mandy Rose, they're all having a laugh, how it's so funny watching those tragic losers like Zoe Stark and Fallon Henley fail so miserably. Zoe Stark got one lucky win over JC, and then she thinks she's all that, but she's clearly not. And Fallon Henley losing again. It seems all she does is lose. If you want to see a real winner, then you can watch Gigi get into the Raw's Queen's Crown Tournament final later tonight. I mean, who's she up against? Kairi Sane? Kairi, honey, it's not Halloween anymore, okay? You can take your pirate costume off. I mean, pirates are so 1900s anyway. But still, it doesn't matter, because all that matters is that Toxic Attraction are on their way where they belong, to the top. With the help of Gigi Dolan winning Queen's Crown, and with the help of this, Mandy says, lifting up her briefcase, Toxic Attraction is taking over. For 77, Toxic Attraction taking over, says Mandy. What more is there to say it to it, honestly? As then out comes the hardcore champion, Damian Priest. And Damian Priest says it's good to be back. He has been partying and celebrating his reign as hardcore champion. But he says the time for partying is over. And he says, hell, the time for talk is over. I've missed being in this ring, and so I don't want to waste another minute. I want to fight. And so I issue an open challenge right now to anyone in the back who ever wants to step up for a shot at this hardcore championship. Come get some. As out comes Bodhi Hayward answering the challenge. Bodhi Hayward, chasey flag in hand, Andre Trace with him, coming out wanting to answer this open challenge. So Damian Priest versus Bodhi Hayward for the hardcore title. In the end, it is Damian Priest who obviously comes out on top. South of Heaven to Bodhi Hayward through a table. Why not? For the victory. For 58, good match. 67 Damian Priest, 18 Bodhi Hayward. Both, Damian Priest carrying a bit, but Bodhi not doing bad. One of his first real matches. It might be literally his first match, I'm unsure, but still coming up short. But a good learning lesson, a good teachable moment going on here for Bodhi Hayward, I think. Then we go backstage. Akira Tozawa walking around backstage with a referee, looking for the 24/7 champion, R-Truth. And then he hears crying, and they follow the crying, and they find R-Truth crying in a corner. And Akira and Charles Robinson both sitting down with R-Truth. Well, what's up, man? What's up? And R-Truth crying, saying, my baby. They took my baby, my baby. And Akira, what about your baby, Truth? And R-Truth saying, my baby joined the mafia. And Akira saying, what? What happened to your baby? And I'm just saying, it was horrible. My baby, she's joined the mafia. She's got tied up in all this crimes and all this trouble. And Akira and Charles Robinson patting him back, saying, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. And then Akira pausing for a moment and saying, Truth, when you say your baby joined the mafia, do you mean your actual child, or do you mean the 24/7 title? And R-Truth saying, my baby, I'm talking about my baby, my beautiful green baby. And Akira said, that's the 24/7 title, it's not your... Oh my god. And then him and Charles Robinson walking away as R-Truth continues to cry about his baby joining the mafia. For a 57. Poor R-Truth. You have to wish the best for the Truth family in these difficult times. Before next up, we continue in the Queen's Crown tournament with the second semi-final. Naomi has already qualified. Who will join her? Will it be Gigi Dolan of Toxic Attraction, or will it be Kairi Sane, who returned a few weeks back, beating Nia Jax to get here into the final? And in the end, your winner, advancing to the Queen's Crown final here on Raw, to face Naomi for a spot at the Crown Jewel final for the crown, is Kairi Sane does do it in the end with an insane elbow to Gigi Dolan to get the win for 77. Good match. 85 Kairi, 49 Gigi. Both doing very well here. But in the end, it is Kairi Sane who gets the victory. And so next week it will be Naomi versus Kairi Sane for a spot at the Queen's Crown tournament final at Crown Jewel. Good match. Good result. Happy. As then we go back to backstage. Montez Ford walking around happy, saying hi to people, when interrupts and walks up to him is Dolph Ziggler. And Dolph Ziggler saying that Montez Ford says, anyone wants to step up can step up, then he's about ready because he's tired of the disrespect he's been hearing, calling Chris Jericho the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time and the greatest IC champ ever. Is old DZ right here. The multi-time Intercontinental Champion. And Montez Ford saying that I never said you weren't a good Intercontinental Champion, Dolph, but you're not the best. And Dolph says, I am. But, hey, you want to disrespect me like that, fine. I will happily prove I'm the best by showing exactly what I can do when that title is up for grabs. For an 84, Dolph Ziggler issuing the challenge to Montez Ford for that Intercontinental Championship right there. As then, what do? We go to, I do believe, we stay backstage and we go to Toxic Attraction walking around, not happy. Mandy, Gigi, a bit banged up. JC, she's leaning on JC helping her walk, and they're talking, they're not happy. And then they spot Fallon Henley and Zoe Stark having a bit of a giggle. And they go over there saying, something funny. And Fallon and Zoe saying, you know what? Yeah, it is actually always quite funny to see you lot get, taken down a peg or two. And Mandy saying, well, you know what? It's also very funny to see you both lose so much, and it happens so often. So why don't we, settle this the right way, okay? You want to laugh? Then put your money where your laughs is. Next week, Gigi and JC versus you two. And Zoe saying, you're on for 75 next week. Toxic Attractions, Gigi Dolan, JC Jane taking on Fallon Henley and Zoe Stark. As then we have a little rundown, a little preview for King of the Ring, the Raw final next week, the triple threat between Angel Garza, Pete Dunne, and Randy Orton. It's just, footage of the three men and intercut with them talking over it. Angel Garza talking about one of the biggest and best moments of his, not in his career, but his life. Last year, winning the King of the Ring tournament, going to SummerSlam, getting to live his dream and become WWE champion even for a fleeting moment. Saying that he's so desperately, ever since that moment passed him by, wanted to do it again, and this is his chance to win King of the Ring again, to go to SummerSlam again, to win the WWE Championship again and hold it and never let it go. And Pete Dunne saying that he's been waiting for an opportunity like this. It's getting way too Irish, isn't it? It always does. Pete Dunne talking about how, teaming with Riddle's good, but he also wants to build his own legacy on his own, and becoming King of the Ring, going to SummerSlam at Wembley, the first time SummerSlam's back at Wembley in 30 years, and getting to go to that Wembley SummerSlam in his home country of England and fight for a WWE World title of his choosing. That is something worth fighting for. And you go to Randy Orton, the legend, the 14-time world champion, talking about wanting to add to his legacy. Want to continue adding to his legacy until he can't add anything else to it. How King of the Ring's been waiting for him, and he's ready to take King of the Ring, and then to go to SummerSlam and make it 15. For 100, this is going to be, I think, a really, really good match next week in that Raw King of the Ring final between these three guys, which I cannot wait to see. But for tonight, we have one more match. As ready for the main event, we have the entrance first of MJF, looking to win and, get himself closer to that WWE Championship. He wants the WWE title, he wants Kevin Owens. First, he's got to go through Adam Cole. Adam Cole making his entrance, Kevin Owens as well, coming to ringside to watch Adam Cole and Kevin Owens having a... I mean, they were deadly rivals at the start of the year, but they seem to have made up over the power of Triple H's love and power. For 100, for the main event, MJF versus Adam Cole, I think it's going to be really good. Whatever match Adam Cole is in is usually amazing, and MJF also just in really, really good form. MJF looking to prove he deserves a shot at the WWE title. Can he do so? MJF, Adam Cole, WWE Championship opportunity potentially up for grabs. And in the end, Adam Cole going for the last shot. But MJF managing to get out of position, grab a hold, duck underneath, grab a hold of Adam Cole, push him forward into the ref. Adam Cole falling back. MJF, a bit of a low blow, pulling Adam Cole down, rolling him up. The referee sliding over once he's out of range, and MJF hooking the tights a little bit, and even maybe just some feet on the ropes as well to just finish it off. MJF comes out on top with some blatant cheating, as it says. MJF gets the victory over Adam Cole for a 97. Like I said, Adam Cole is just money, isn't he, and ratings. 97, what a main event, incredible match between the pair. 96 Adam Cole, 76 MJF, doing really well himself. But in the end, it is MJF who comes out on top. A massive victory for him over the multi-time world champion Adam Cole. Afterwards, MJF celebrating and taunting Kevin Owens, watching on MJF, telling Owens, I'm going to take that championship, my championship from you. Because that's inevitable. WWE champion MJF, that is inevitable. For 100, really amazing main event. Good post. Things moving nicely. More and more puzzle pieces beginning to fit in for Crown Jewel. We have our Raw finals next week of Naomi versus Kairi Sane for a spot in the Queen's Crown final, and Angel Garza, Pete Dunne, and Randy Orton in a spot for the King's Ring final. This episode of Raw gets 97, really good rating, increased up over 19 region. Happy with that. Good episode. A lot moving forward. I'm pleased. Next week's show should be good with that triple threat. Naomi, Kairi. Apollo Crews says you'll see Edris and Arfe. A lot going on and a lot still to progress, but still really good show. Very, very happy with that. As things do continue to progress, as the puzzle pieces for King of the Ring and Queen's Crown specifically fall more into place, but also Crown Jewel with those not the only premium live event in the month. We also have NXT TakeOver Chicago, so let's continue building up to that as well as King of the Ring and Queen's Crown tournament finals as well, of course, with another episode of NXT. And NXT gets underway with the Golden Guards, as LA Knight describes them, coming out to the ring. LA Knight, the NXT champion, along with Spanish Fly, Socrates Torres, and Alfonso Borbin and Cameron Grimes. And LA is not happy. LA Knight says last week he was most of the way through kicking that bum ass Johnny Gargano's ass 7 ways to Sunday like old LA Knight can do. But then out comes Mr. Chad Gable. Chad Gable clearly still upset at his failure, still upset that he couldn't hang it in this ring with old LA Knight, wanting to come out there and get in LA Knight's business like he can do that to the head of NXT. And that's when Gable comes out, and Gable's not happy either. Gable says it's not how he wanted to do it, but LA Knight wants to ignore him, pretend he's not there. You can't do that. Chad says that he wants a rematch for that NXT championship. He says he knows LA Knight's angry. He knows LA Knight wants to take a shot at him, and he wants to take a shot at LA. So let's just do it. LA Knight laughing and saying that, you ain't gonna get me like that, kid. LA Knight's been in this business a long time. I ain't letting you goad me into handing you a NXT championship shot you do not deserve. You don't just get a waltz into the ring with LA Knight for the NXT championship. You gotta earn that for a 100. And that's when out comes the Mysterios, the Cruiserweight Tag Team Champions, and Ray says he's had enough. He's had enough of LA Knight's talking and bragging and all of that. He says he's been in this business long enough, and he's seen assholes like LA Knight come and go and show up and sit atop the period and spout their nonsense and their rubbish and act like they're the kings or the gods, as he calls himself around here. And he's sick and tired of it. He says that he's, been on rosters where the top guy was an asshole like LA Knight and it sucked. And he's been on rosters where the top guy was someone good and someone more humble and someone more deserving, like a John Cena in the past, or like an Undertaker, or like a Chad Gable. And Ray says Chad Gable is a worthy head of NXT, and he can acknowledge that from his years in the business. And Ray says that he also would love the opportunity to shut LA Knight up himself. So he says, LA Knight, you don't want to give Chad Gable a shot at an NXT Championship? Okay, let's sweeten the pot then. NXT TakeOver Chicago. I know what you guys want, so let's do it. LA Knight, Spanish Fly versus Chad Gable and me and Dominic. NXT title, Cruiserweight Tag Team titles. Winner takes all. And LA Knight and Spanish Fly smiling at that one. And LA Knight saying, well, look at that, Chad. It looks like you've used up all your luck right here, right now, because that challenge is accepted. And come NXT TakeOver Chicago, the Golden Gods will be truly draped in gold. Yeah. For a 100. Really good start to the show. The main event of NXT TakeOver Chicago, official and set. LA Knight, Socrates Torres, and Alfonso Bourbon versus Chad Gable, Rey Mysterio, and Dominic Mysterio. NXT Championship and Cruiserweight Tag Team Championships. Winner takes all. Massive 6-man tag team match set, which will hopefully be really good. These promos have LA Knight and Chad Gable both amazing in ring. Rey Mysterio very good in ring. Torres very good. Bourbon and Dominic might bring it down a little bit, but I think the match can still be really good regardless, especially LA Knight and Chad just on amazing form. Very, very happy with that. Really good promo. As then, we move away from the promos and we have our first matchup of a tournament. We have the Queen's Crown. What is it? Semi-final? Yeah, the semi-final. There you go. God, I'm getting my it's too hot for this, I tell you. The Queen's Crown semi-final, the first one of this evening. It is Candice LeRae versus Mickie James. Had their matches in the past, had their problems in the past, but who will earn the spot in the NXT Brands Queen's Crown tournament? In the end, your winner advancing to NXT's final next week is Candice LeRae. Candice LeRae does do it with the inverted Frankensteiner in the end for a 62. Good match as well. 60 LeRae, 43 James, both doing alright. Most important part though, in the end, is that Candice LeRae earns her spot in Queen's Crown's final. Candice has done it one step closer. Reminded NXT's Queen's Crown and King of the Ring finals will be at NXT TakeOver Chicago. Just fill that card up a little bit more. Yeah, why wouldn't you? Hopefully be really good. She will be facing Jade Cargill or Roxanne Perez. We will find out later tonight, but Candice LeRae does get the win. Before we have a special announcement, next week will be a very special edition, the NXT's first ever edition of Ding Dong Hello from Bayley. Bayley anointing herself the role model, the locker room leader of NXT's women's division, awaiting to be handed the NXT Women's Championship, really. And she will host a special edition of Ding Dong Hello next week for an 80. Bayley, who doesn't love her? When will she come back? That's the question, isn't it? We miss her. We really do miss her. It's been too damn long, I tell you. Sidetracked. As next up, we go back to tournaments, this time for the first semi-final in the King of the Ring tournament. It is Legado's leader, Andrade, taking on Cesaro, who they've had their problems in the past, haven't they? Notably back in December of last year. They were separately in War Games. Cesaro was with the Mysterios. Andrade was with Legado, of course, and MSK. I think, I want to say Legado won. I'm not entirely certain on that one, though. It was a while, like it was 7 months ago. I can't believe that was 7 months ago. Either way, Andrade versus Cesaro here in the King of the Ring semi-final, and in the end, the first male superstar man advancing to the final, we will take place at NXT TakeOver Chicago, is Andrade. Andrade does do it for a 93, 96 Andrade, 69, nice Cesaro. Andrade gets to it. Andrade books his ticket into NXT's King of the Ring final. Will he take on Johnny Gargano or Carmelo Hayes? We'll find out after that blockbuster main event, because that match would, it's just a banger, isn't it? I say would, it's happened. It is just a banger, isn't it? Andrade, though, qualifies. As then, let me ready my voice, because it's time for Tony to go see the Godfather. Tony, we cut to it earlier this week. Tony and Don Wagner going in, and Michael saying, Tony, you got it, if you got the crown. And Tony saying, Pa, I don't got the crown, but don't worry about it, Pa. What do you mean, Tony? What do you mean don't worry about it? I told you need a title. And Tony saying, Pa, I don't need the crown, I got even better. I got something even better, Pa. What do you get, son, huh? What do you get? And Tony, unzipping his tracksuit jacket, revealing the 24/7 title around his waist. And, Michael saying, what's that, what is that, son? And Tony saying, Pa, don't worry, this is a big title, Pa. This is a big title, huh? The superstars, they chase after this, huh? 24/7, they're running down the streets, doing all this and all that to try and get this title. It's a big title, Pa, trust me. Michael's saying, okay, that's good, son, that's good. A nice big title, that's what we need, huh? That's beautiful, come here, give it to me. And Tony, and then you just have like an awkward part, that feels like it goes on way too long, probably. It'll probably go like 30 seconds to a minute, where Tony's just kind of awkwardly moves to lay on the bed next to Michael, and then Michael kind of rolls over to cover Tony. And then you have the ref slowly come in, and the referee, he's got his ref suits, but his ref suit's under like a black blazer, and he's got, one of the hats on as well, part of the mob as well, and counts the 1, 2, 3 as Michael Corleone is the new 24/7 champion. I'm sure we'd all agree, Michael Corleone's biggest ever achievement right there. And then Tony getting up, Michael with the holding the 24/7 title, just a funny image in itself, isn't it? Michael saying, all right, son, I'll take this, I'll go get it sorted, huh? I'll go get everything arranged for the wedding, huh? And Tony, don't worry. We found the perfect date, huh? Huh? Because guess what, Tony? And Tony saying, what is it, Pa? And Michael saying, we look into it, huh? And turns out, NXT TakeOver, it's in Chicago. Your hometown boy, huh? My son getting married in his hometown, huh? Your ma be so proud of you, And Tony saying, Pa, you do me this kindness. This is so beautiful of you. Michael saying, of course, huh? For my son, for the next Don of this family, I'll do this, huh? Now go. We got arranging to do. We'll get it all sorted for TakeOver Chicago. While you're getting married, kid. And Tony saying, thanks, Pa, thanks. Tony and Don Wagner leaving the room, going to the outer room. Otis and Tucker getting up from their seats. Harland standing still. And Tony saying excitedly, I'm getting married, boys. Going over, jumping up and down with Otis, and Tucker going over to Harland, putting his arm around him, looking up at Harland, taking his arm off him, and says, you know what this means, though, huh? I'm getting married. NXT TakeOver Chicago. We got about 2 weeks. We need to do a bachelor party, boys. For 72. So much good on there. Michael Corleone is the new 24/7 champion. Tony D'Angelo is getting married at NXT TakeOver Chicago. You are all invited. Of everything I've ever done in this series, I'm sure this is the number one thing that you're most looking forward to, because Tony D'Angelo's getting married, everyone. You have to be there for that at the premium live event special. Here's your invitation, episode 84. Be there or be square, of course. And next week, we will have the bachelor party of Tony D'Angelo. You're not going to want to miss that. You aren't going to want to miss that one, I promise. 72. These segments are getting better, I feel like. 72. Tony, you're killing it, mate. You're killing it, Big Tone. Now, oh God, I do love these segments. They're very long. Let's get through it. We go backstage, present time. Ray and Dom talking. Dom's not happy. Just saying to his dad, you sure about this, huh? We already beat Spanish Fly. We don't have to fight them again. Just for Chad Gable? Why would you make that offer, Dad? Before Ray can really answer, Chad Gable himself walks in saying, sorry, I don't want to interrupt, but I just want to say thank you. I'm grateful. You didn't have to do that after put your titles on the line, but, I'm looking forward to this, tagging with you both, especially you, Ray. Legend, looked up to you. And I'm really looking forward to it. Getting a team with you and getting that NXT Championship back. And Ray saying it's no problem, He's looking forward to team with Chad as well. Chad, amazing. And yeah, looking forward to helping him get his NXT title back and get a real deserved head of NXT for a 97. Really good backstage segment there. Lovely stuff between these three. Dominic, though, not very happy with his dad's decision. But who cares what Dominic thinks? As then, we have our second semi-final in the Queen's Crown Tournament. Candice LeRae qualified earlier tonight. Who will join her? Will it be destined for greatness's Jade Cargill? Or will it be next gen's Roxanne Perez? Roxanne Perez has been under the tutelage of Candice LeRae. Yep, I had to think about that for a second to make sure that was her name. Candice LeRae. So maybe that would help her here. Who knows? Jade Cargill, Roxanne Perez. Jade Cargill doing Jade Cargill things. Roxanne Perez, the underdog here, the smaller superstar. Jade powering around. But in the end, it's Roxanne Perez who out of nowhere rolls up Jade Cargill and gets the free for a 50. Decent match, all things considered. Wasn't expecting much from these two. 51 Jade, 47 Roxanne. They've done well for themselves. But in the end, it is Roxanne Perez who earns her spot in the Queen's Crown NXT final at NXT TakeOver Chicago. It will be Roxanne Perez versus Candice LeRae, the student versus the teacher, for a spot in the Queen's Crown final at Crown Jewel. After match, Roxanne Perez reaching her hand out for a handshake with Jade Cargill. Jade Cargill looking down at her hand, laughing a little bit, and then angrily walking away. Not happy. Roxanne just kind of stood there with her hands still out, just looking at it like, okay then. When out comes Candice LeRae, marching past Jade Cargill into the ring with Roxanne Perez, and then Candice LeRae shaking Roxanne Perez's hand. These two will go head to head in NXT's final at NXT TakeOver Chicago. Will hopefully be a good match. Candice LeRae versus Roxanne Perez for a spot in the final of the Queen's Crown tournament. 80 for that post. Good post, good match. I'm happy. As then we get ready for the main event, we have the entrances. First of all, Carmelo Hayes comes out, the trademark big over-the-top Carmelo Hayes type celebration. Carmelo Hayes standing front and center. He's got Anthony Ogogo behind him, Cassidy and Reddin either side, Trick Williams on the mic, hyping him up, making his big over-the-top entrance that he does so well. He's just so cool, isn't he? Carmelo Hayes making his way to the ring, ready for this matchup, ready to try and earn his spot in the King of the Ring final against Andrade. And then Johnny Gargano comes out, just the normal Johnny Gargano entrance, no big over-the-top thing needed for Mr. Gargano, is there? For an 89. And then the King of the Ring semi-final we've all been waiting for, Johnny Gargano versus Carmelo Hayes. That match with Andrade at NXT TakeOver Chicago awaiting the winner. Who will get there? Gargano versus Hayes. In the end, they go balls to the wall for about 15 minutes. Full speed, 100% in it at all times. Both of these men want to get to that final. Both of these men want to be crowned King of the Ring, want to go to SummerSlam, want to get a world title shot of their choosing. Only one of them can do it. And in the end, the man who does it and will face Andrade at NXT TakeOver Chicago is Johnny Gargano. There you go. In the end, Carmelo Hayes forced to tap out in the Croston Crab. Gave it everything he had. Carmelo Hayes, the newer superstar, the younger superstar. In the end, maybe Johnny Gargano's experience played its part. And Johnny Gargano earns his spot in the final of King of the Ring's NXT bracket. Gargano versus Andrade, the legendary rematch. I also can't say hopefully it'll be good. It will be. 87 for this. Really good main event. 94 Gargano, 68 Hayes. Gargano and Andrade both getting in the 90s in-ring performance-wise tonight, so it's going to be a good match. As Johnny Gargano has booked his ticket to NXT TakeOver Chicago. Big win for Johnny. Beautiful. Johnny's music hits. He gets to his feet. He gets his arm raised. He has done it. And then he is promptly attacked by Legado. Carrillo, Escobar, and Andrade storming the ring and taking out Gargano, beating him down. And NXT just ends with Andrade standing tall over Johnny Gargano for an 82. Fine ending. Same reign, not the highest. No offense to him. Humberto and Santos Escobar probably bringing it down a bit. If that's just Johnny and Andrade, that gets the same reign of like 100. But who cares? Really good episode of NXT, I thought. Main event especially. Match-wise, very good. 91, still a really good episode of NXT. Gargano and Andrade, both really good matches. Main event of TakeOver Chicago confirmed in Tony D'Angelo's wedding, and also another match, I suppose, in LA Knight and Spanish Fly versus Chad Gable and the Mysterios. Winner takes all, but who cares? Tony's getting married, everybody. Our boy, our little baby boy, Tony D'Angelo's getting married, huh? Beautiful. Bring a tear to your eye. Bring a tear to your eye. Oh. As if this episode feels like it's all downhill from Tony D'Angelo's wedding confirmed, but still we have one more thing to get through. So let's go and do it. Let's confirm all the King of the Ring and Queen's Crown finals, shall we, with another episode of Smackdown. And Smackdown gets underway with just a little, video commentator talking about it, showing backstage the WWE Universal Champion Keith Lee and the Tribal Chief Roman Reigns both arriving to the arena. They say that later tonight there will be a contract signing between the two men for their monumental Universal Championship match at Crown Jewel for a 100. They both arrive ready for that contract signing later, ready for their massive match at Crown Jewel. Two alphas just going at it, Before then, we kick off the action tonight, the proper action. There's a lot of matches. SmackDown very much is tending as the show with the most wrestling at the moment. NXT and Raw having more kind of angles and segments, a lot more time spent on that, it feels like. But SmackDown having a lot more just in-ring action, which, if that's what you really, 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 really want from your wrestling show, is very SmackDown of it, actually. And the first bit of action for SmackDown here is in the King of the Ring tournament. That's how we're kicking off tonight. It is the phenomenal one, AJ Styles taking on Solo Sikoa. Speaking of Roman Reigns, Solo Sikoa of the Bloodline. AJ Styles looking to add another big accolade to his long list, and Solo Sikoa looking to continue this dominant tear he's been on, bring some own accolades to the Bloodline. A tough matchup, AJ more experience and all of that, but Solo Sikoa, the strength, the aggression, the anger. In the end, a winner, advancing to the Smackdown final of King of the Ring, has AJ Styles going for this phenomenal forearm, jumps up through the air, Solo managing to catch him on his shoulders, goes for the Samoan drop, but AJ falls down his back, cradles him up. 1, 2, 3. Your winner, advancing to the final of SmackDown's King of the Ring, is AJ Styles. Solo Sikoa giving a really good effort here. Being in the ring with someone AJ Styles is always going to help him. 80 for the match is good. 90 AJ, 47 Solo. Solo, not the time to be off your game, mate, but still always going to help you being in the ring with someone like AJ Styles. Hopefully give him a little bit of boost in some areas, but still, in the end, it is AJ Styles who books his ticket into SmackDown's King of the Ring final next week. Solo coming up short, but, nothing bad about losing to AJ Styles, is there? After the match, AJ Styles going up the ramp, Caleb Braxton comes out to meet him. They're by the throne that's up on the ramp, as it always is. And AJ Styles says that he's accomplished a lot here in WWE. Multi-time world champion, Intercontinental, United States tag team, all of that. But AJ says that winning the King of the Ring, this historic King of the Ring tournament with such a big list of winners, such huge names, adding his name to that list, that will be one of the biggest. And so, you know, Big E, Bron Breakker, whoever it is next week, you're getting the phenomenal one, AJ Styles. And I'm going to beat you. I'm going to go to Crown Jewel. I'm going to get that crown. Then I'm going to SummerSlam. And AJ Styles is becoming a world champion again. For an 81. Good little promo after the match as well from AJ. Well done. As then, we have another little match. It's Deonna Purrazzo looking to get back into the swing of things, taking on Natalya, who wants a Women's Universal title match with Ronda Rousey. Natalya looking to prove what she's got against Deonna. And much the ways Deonna's matches seem to have been going, Deonna's a bit on top, but Deonna just wants to, you know, ensure things, wanting to be a bit heelish, and much has been the way Aaliyah not going along with it, and Deonna getting angry. There's a lot of tension building up between Deonna's gang and Aaliyah here, because Aaliyah seems to have grown a conscience about Deonna's heelish ways, and Deonna turning around, Natalya dropping her down into the sharpshooter, taps out. Natalya gets the win for 77. Good match. 74 Deonna, 55 Natalya. Both doing well. But Natalya does pick up the win as, once again, Aaliyah doesn't want to be a dickhead anymore, seemingly. As then we go to recorded footage of Thaddeus Bullard driving in a big old truck. You know, a nice 4x4. And he stops, and he gets out the car, and you just see him standing there, and in the distance you see a farmhouse. And Thaddeus Bullard says, Brock Lesnar, the man I wanted. Brock Lesnar, the man I asked for. Brock Lesnar, the man Paul Heyman won't give me. Brock Lesnar, the man who seems too afraid to come get me himself. So here I am, Brock. You're home here in Saskatchewan. You're home with your family and your kids in that house. I'm right here, Brock. And I brought you a little message, actually. I did. I brought you a little message. And then he walks to the back of the truck. And then he reappears with a big dead cow over his back. And he just dumps it onto Brock's lawn. And he says, You're the beast. Well, I am the big, bad Bullard. And I'll be waiting for you, Brock. I'll be waiting in that ring next week. And you have two options for you, Brock. You can meet me in this ring, or I can come back to this farm. I know where you are. And I will leave as many little presents like this until you come face me and I show everybody that the big bad Bullard can still kick anyone's ass. For 100, Bullard making it a bit personal, going to Brock's house like that, but still visiting Saskatchewan. I feel like that's how it's said. In the moment, I could not tell you. I think it's Saskatchewan. That feels right. 100. Good. Very good from Bullard, as always. As then, next up, we have another matchup in the Queen's Crown Tournament. It is the Doudrop taking on Sonya Deville with no mercy. And in the end, in a battle of, Doudrop a bit more strength, Sonya Deville, the submission specialist. In the end, it is Sonya Deville who comes out on top, managing to lock the Kimura onto Doudrop and also the tap out for the win for an 81. Good match. 79 Sonya, 54 Doudrop, both doing well. But it is Sonya Deville who books her slot, stamps her ticket into the Queen's Crown final next week, where she will face either Becky Lynch or Liv Morgan. We'll find out in the main event later tonight. But right now, it is just Sonya Deville coming out on top and earning her spot one step closer to that Queen's Crown final at Crown Jewel. Then we go backstage to Deonna, just very angry with Aaliyah. Aaliyah trying to explain herself, saying, maybe we don't have to do it like this. You could have beaten Natalya without cheating or anything like that. And Deonna having enough. Saying to Aaliyah, go home, okay? And come back next week with your mind right, okay? Because Aaliyah, this is not a good look for you, okay, hun? For 52, Deonna, Chelsea, Lana, and Frankie Mano all walking away from Aaliyah, leaving her on her own. How sad. Deonna telling Aaliyah to get her mind straight. As then, we have Tyler Breeze continuing his quest to wanting a match with Joe Gacy. Last week he beat Cutler and Blake in a handicap match, impressively. And this week he takes on another challenge from Joe Gacy. Joe Gacy sending EC3 for this challenge. In the end, Tyler Breeze coming out on top for a 75, hitting the Unpretty. A good match. 72 Tyler, 51 EC3, going well. Tyler Breeze does get the window. Just like last week, Tyler Breeze grabs the mic. He wants Joe Gacy. And Joe Gacy says that, Tyler, there's still so much anger in you. And you want me, I hear you so loud, so clear. But one more challenge. To just get that rage and that anger. Let it escape your body. Escape the world. Next week, one more challenge with him. As Joe Gacy points up to Braun Strowman, the monster among men, Tyler Breeze. Very much against the odds there, but Tyler Breeze wants Joe Gacy. And anger has fueled people to do a lot worse. 67. Nice little post. Tyler Breeze has to take on Braun Strowman next week. Before then, we continue on in the King of the Ring tournament. It is former Universal Champion Big E versus hot up-and-coming prospect who debuted about a month ago, just under a month ago even, Bron Breakker. Debuted at Money in the Bank 3 weeks back even, and he's already into the King of the Ring semi-final here, but he is taking on former Universal Champion Big E. Now, Bron Breakker, big performance last week where he beat former WWE Champion Big E's friend and brother, Kofi Kingston, of the group formerly known as The New Day. But now Bron Breakker against Big E. Two big guys, two beefy boys slabbing meat, just like Big E likes it. And in the end, a spot in that King of the Ring final against AJ Styles next week, up for grabs. Big E, Bron Breakker, the experience versus the rookie, the former Universal Champion versus the man seemingly destined for World Championships in the end. Your winner, advancing to that match with AJ Styles next week, is Big E. Big E does come out on top in the end. For an 81, good match. 86 Big E, 56 Bron Breakker. Bron Breakker coming up short. No disrespect. I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. Disrespect doesn't feel like it's it. There's no shame, there you go, in losing to a former Universal Champion like Big E. This time last year, Big E was Universal Champion. There's no shame, I feel like, in Bron Breakker losing to him. Bron Breakker doesn't need to be this big, unstoppable heel who never loses. In NXT, even 2.0 right now, there's an unstoppable heel. He's lost matches, and he can afford to lose matches, especially to someone like Big E, like I said, former Universal Champion, even so short ago as less than a year ago. No shame in Bron Breakker in losing to him. Help build him up still. Nothing wrong with it. In the end, though, it is Big E who gets the win, and Big E who stamps his ticket into the King of the Ring final next week against AJ Styles. Big E, AJ Styles spotting the King of the Ring final at Crown Jewel up for grabs. Hopefully, a really good matchup between the two. As then afterwards, we go backstage and we go to Natalya walking around, and she bumps into the Women's Universal Champion, Ronda Rousey. And Ronda says she's heard Natalya. A lot of respect for Natalya. Of course, Natalya helped train her and all that, and Ronda says that Natalya wants it. She can have a Women's Universal Championship match. Natalya, of course, accepts. 83. Ronda Rousey, Natalya, Women's Universal title, come Crown Jewel. Nice. As then, we have the final semi-final of the tournaments. The tournament's just flown by, haven't they? The Queen's Crown semi-final between one half of the Women's Tag Team Champions in the man, Becky Lynch, and her opponent, Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan looking to find herself since Ruby Riott turned on her, beat her at Mania. She overcame Deonna Purrazzo. She's overcome a lot. It's Liv Morgan. Looking to continue this good run and head towards a women's title match. Becky Lynch looking to keep going in that Queen's Crown tournament. And you have to think Becky Lynch wants to win the Queen's Crown tournament and stamp her ticket to SummerSlam, and most likely stamp her ticket to that match she's waited a long time for with old Ronnie, isn't she? Or Natalya, if Natalya wins. Queen's Crown semi-final, Becky Lynch, Liv Morgan, and in the end, your winner, and the woman advancing to that matchup next week with Sonya Deville for a spot in the Queen's Crown final at Crown Jewel is Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch does get the win. Liv Morgan giving everything she's got, but in the end, Lynch managing to lock in the disarmer. And Liv Morgan struggles and she tries to claw and fight. But in the end, no choice but to tap out as Becky Lynch stamps her ticket to the Smackdown Queen's Crown final next week with Sonya Deville. 87. Really good match between the pair. 88 Lynch, 71 Morgan. Both did really well. Very happy with it. As it is Becky Lynch who gets to win after the match. You know, Liv Morgan's arm a bit hurt from the disarmer, but Lynch helps her up. And the two women shake hands. A show of respect from Becky Lynch and Liv Morgan. How lovely. Very nice. Good. As then it's time to end the show as with what was advertised at the very start of it. The contract signing, Stephanie McMahon residing over it. Keith Lee, Roman Reigns both making their way out to the ring. Keith Lee saying that he's waited a long time for this inevitable matchup with Roman Reigns ever since these two titans first collided at Survivor Series all that time ago. Keith Lee says he has waited for this moment. This moment, one on one, face to face. Keith Lee and Roman Reigns, and finally that time has arrived. It came close at Money in the Bank, but Keith Lee came out on top in that fatal four-way, but two have fallen and two remain. Limitless, Tribal Chief, Universal Championship at the Crown Jewel, as it was always meant to be. And Roman Reigns saying that Keith Lee is a joke, saying that his Universal title reign is a joke, saying no one cares about Keith Lee. He's not the headliner. He's not the top dog. The Tribal Chief is. Saying that at WrestleMania no one gave two rat's asses about Keith Lee, Thaddeus Bullard. They cared about Roman Reigns smashing The Rock. Saying that all this time since in Keith Lee's Universal title reign, people haven't cared about Keith Lee. They've cared about what's the Tribal Chief doing, what's going on in the bloodline today. Roman Reigns saying that at Money in the Bank, I would have beaten you. I would have smashed all three of you myself, stacked you up, pinned you all in the middle of that ring, and took that Universal Championship if Jimmy didn't get involved. But what I do, I smashed Jimmy. And now all that's left is you, Keith. All that's left is Crown Jewel, where I smash you, I stack you, and I pin you. And finally, the Tribal Chief and the head of the table, Roman Reigns, stands above all. Universal Champion. Both men signed the contract for the 100, Keith Lee, Roman Reigns. Both of these men are ready for their clash. Crown Jewel, Keith Lee, Roman Reigns, Universal Championship, one-on-one at last. The Limitless One, the Tribal Chief, bask in his glory versus Acknowledge Me. Roman Reigns, Keith Lee, Universal title. What a match that's going to be. I cannot wait. Overall, this episode of SmackDown gets a 91, really good episode. A lot of good segments, moving things along. Queen's Crown and King of the Ring semi-finals on SmackDown set for next week. Sonya versus Becky and Big E versus AJ. Two big matches, which will hopefully be really, really good. And also, Crown Jewel things solidifying a lot more. Ronda, Natalya, Keith Lee, Roman Reigns. Amazing. That is going to be it for that is going to be it for today, though. There we go. We got out in the end. I really hope you've enjoyed, and you're looking forward to NXT TakeOver Chicago and Crown Jewel at the end of the month. You're enjoying the King of the Ring and Queen's Crown tournament and all of that jazz and stuff. If you are enjoying all that and the series as a whole, why don't you leave a like and subscribe for more? Always appreciate the support. And as always, I just want to say thank you for watching.